Saquon Barkley just confirmed it. The Eagles have a rookie Phenom on their hands. Dallas still stinks. You might do it, Dingbat here. So the Eagles finished practice today, which lasted about an hour and 40 minutes. And all I can say is this team is loaded. It is loaded with talent. It is loaded with quotes because there are so many guys that are showing up. It is unbelievable. It really is. This team is going to be good. Anybody that thinks this team isn't got a really good chance to go back to the Super Bowl, they're crazy. They're crazy. There's more good than bad, that's for sure. Now, before we get into it, the first thing we got to talk about is our boy Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell is number 49 on the top 100 list. I think this is a fair ranking for him. I think him being 49 and Cooper Dejean is actually really fair. I think Mulata should be higher, but Quinyon Mitchell, congratulations to him on making the list. He deserves it. You know, there's so much attention with Cooper Dejean because, you know, the interception, the pick six in the Super Bowl, but Q all year from week one all the way through, he was just shut down. He was shut down. Got to work on catching the ball and his interceptions. But even Christian Parker was asked, you know, can Quinyon Mitchell be one of the greats? And he said, yes. Yes, he can. And there's no doubt about it. I think Quinyon Mitchell is only going to be better in his second year than his first year. I think he'll also start getting a lot more interceptions because I know that's something that they're really, really, really working on. And I think that's a really good thing. Now, as far as practice went today, here's as always, we start with the practice injury report. Here's Monday's injury report. It's pretty long. It's pretty long. Will not practice. Zach Bond, A.J. Brown, hamstring. Now, let me say something about A.J. Brown and the hamstring because I know there's a lot of concern about it. They showed him walking out this morning to practice. He's not limping. He doesn't look like there's anything wrong. But, you know, obviously it seems like it's probably slight and precautionary, and the Eagles are being safe, and you don't want him to come back until he's healthy. But I think A.J. Brown's going to be fine. Lewis Cine, hamstring. Montrell Johnson, hamstring. Trevor Keegan, back. I really wonder what's going on with Trevor Keegan. We haven't heard much about him. I was very excited about him when we got him in the draft. We'll see. But he's out with a back. Terrace Marshall, knee. Byron Young is now on the injury report with a groin. Limited was Charlie Hewlett, Mac McWilliams, Andrew Makuba, Nolan Smith concussion. And I will say this about Nolan Smith. He left practice early with Kenyon Green. So we'll have to see what's going on with Nolan Smith. Then Ben Van Sumeren was back. So that's really, really good. Now, before we get into what was going on, some of the things of practice, I want to talk about Vic Fangio for a second. Because Vic Fangio, you know, he spoke today and he, you know, and he said something that really kind of to me stood out. And that was with Cooper Dejean. You know, he was asked about oh, well, what about the safety position? What do you think, you know, of Sidney Brown and Makuba and all those guys so far? What are your thoughts on that? And, you know, he talked about it. He said, Sidney Brown's doing okay. He's still got to do this or he's still got to do that. You know, Makuba, he's got to get time and he's missing time, so that's really hurting him. But then he talks about Cooper Dejean. And it's different. It's different the way he talks about Cooper Dejean at safety. Here's what he said. He said, Cooper Dejean has made some impressive plays at safety. Says last week the offense ran a route the defense had trouble picking up. Says Cooper picked it up and stopped it like he played safety for years. He can be a good safety. Now, why do I bring that up? I bring it up for this reason. Cooper Dejean, I think, is what Vic Fangio would love to play him at safety. He would. We heard this in OTAs that Vic Fangio looks at Cooper Dejean and says, man, this guy could be a really, really good safety. And I think that's what he thinks. But he's also probably one of the best slot corners in the league. So you can't really take him out of there. So right now, in base, they put Dejean at safety. In nickel, he's going to be in the slot. However, it's something I think worth watching because, in my opinion, hearing Vic talk about everybody else at safety was When he got to Dejean, it was like, yeah, he's a good safety. So if the Eagles do struggle at safety, they may look at that as a last resort and say, all right, well, we're going to have to put him at safety because we need the help. But clearly, he thinks Cooper Dejean can be a safety and can do it really, really, really good. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all, okay? Now, as far as some of the practice went, this is what let's do this because it's always funny. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts supposedly had a really good day. The offense supposedly won the day. And Elliott Shore-Parks likes to keep passing statistics at camp, which I find entertaining. I can't help it. So he has Jalen Hurts training camp stats, day 9. 16-19. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Grade A. So Jalen Hurts had a pretty good day, according to him. That's great. Now, the play of the day went to one Elijah Cooks. Every practice I do live stream, every day, there's at least one big catch by Elijah Cooks. Elijah Cooks just made the play of the day, Martin Frank said, on a juggling catch over Adoree Jackson on one-on-one drills. Jackson apparently had decent coverage and decent positioning. However, what people don't realize is this kid is 6'4", 215 mother humping pounds. All right, he's got decent size. Somebody in my chat today told me that he ran a 4.49 40. That's not bad speed for a guy his size. This kid is making noise. He's making a lot of noise. Now, that being said, will he be able to make this roster? We're going to have to see. But here's what I will say. Johnny Wilson, I got to put him on the boat because if this kid goes out in preseason and he plays well, I'm playing him. I am. So he had the play of the day. As far as some different things on defense today, Jalen Hunt lined up with the second team today. So Uche was with the starters. That's interesting. That's really the first time I've seen Jalen Hunt not be with the starters to start. They just giving him a look. We'll see, Trotter Jr. and Smile Mundun were your starting linebackers today, okay? That's really, really interesting. But if you listen to Vic Fangio's press conference, he also talked about he likes to mix and match linebackers and guys on the field so that they get used to playing with each other. So I don't think that's really necessarily a bad thing. Defensively, Morojomo, another sack, another big day. Quinyon Mitchell, he had an interception. And Hurts was pretty good, like I said earlier. He was pretty good, and yeah, this defense is loaded with talent. It really is, especially the linebacker position. I think the interior defensive line is too. We're going to talk about Jordan Davis. I got a lot to say on Jordan Davis, so I'm going to save that for an extra video because, man, I'm telling you, he's going to have a big year. I think Ojomo's going to have a big year. And then, you got our boy Jihaad Campbell. Now, Jihaad Campbell not a lot going on today, but we know this kid is flashing big time, okay? And he's got things to work on, no doubt about it, but he's also getting snaps at edge rusher. I think he's a phenom. I think he's Parsons-like, okay? And I thought it was interesting to hear Saquon Barkley say this about him.
About Jihaad Campbell so far here early
on? Super raw, like freaky athletic. I think it's going to be a problem, a real big problem for a lot of guys in this league. Having to go against him and blocking him. Like, he's kind of built like Micah a little bit, knowing Micah for a long time. So I feel like, as he grows and learn the game a little bit more, you're going to be able to put him in different spots. But just raw, like uber athletic, can fly, aggressive, probably too aggressive in camp right now, to be honest. Got to teach him to stay away from the guys in red.
Very, very interesting. He sees them similar to how I see them. So when you get these people talking about, we go to Parsons, we got our Parsons, baby. We got them. We don't need to do anything. Jihaad Campbell has to play, and it's going to be interesting watching him develop. I don't know how much they're going to play him, but I'm willing to bet that in a month from now, because we get to we get to double moonwalk the Cowboys' ass in about a month, exactly a month. I wonder. I'd be shocked if he doesn't start. And I say that knowing Trotter has been very, very good in training camp. We're just loaded at linebacker. We really are. And I'm not really as worried as many other people at that cornerback spot. To me, the big battle is safety. Safety, because we can't have Dejean there full time. But we could have, him sometimes, but hopefully Makuba or Sidney Brown. Look, let the best man win. Somebody can win it and take that job. Not just be given a job out of hey, we don't have anybody else, but actually win the job. It would be nice. It would be nice. But it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. Another guy I want to mention real quick on the way out is Shanderick Powell, the running back. Another day, another flash. We are going to probably get a great look at him this week. Because we'll see Shipley, we'll see some Dillon, and then he's pretty much going to be the only running back. So I expect to see a lot of Powell. Let's see how he looks in the first preseason game. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. So we know that the Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin thing is going on, and they both have requested trades. We don't know if it's going to really happen. But did you see this rumor with Terry McLaurin possibly getting traded to Miami? Here's what it would be. It'd be the Commanders and Dolphins have discussions involving Tyreek Hill and Terry McLaurin swap. The Dolphins want a high pick back in the deal. That's pretty interesting. If Washington got Tyreek Hill, I mean, he would be very, very dangerous with that speed. However, I don't know. I don't know how much it really helps them. You know what I mean? And especially if they have to give a pick back in the deal, it doesn't. Just pay McLaurin. What are they doing? But anyways, something to keep an eye on. Denzel Washington out. That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.